Hi everyone, good morning from Sydney, Australia. Today we are presenting the AdSense Policy user-generated content. First of all, a quick introduction, just as we wait for the proper screen to come up, just a slight delay. My name is Scott. I'm with the Online Partnerships Group here in Sydney. I'll be taking you through the presentation today on user-generated content. And we've also got Domenica here as the moderator.
Hello everyone, nice meeting you.
She will be available should you want to post any comments that we will review at the end of the presentation. But again, thanks for joining us, and we'll start with user-generated content right now. So what we're going to cover off today, the overall goal of the session is to talk really in depth about some of our policies and cover our most frequently asked questions. We're also going to offer our tips and best practices to help you stay compliant, and also outline how you can react if you receive a policy notification from us, and all the resources available to you. So hope to leave around 10 minutes for Q&A at the end of the presentation. Just one point, if you'd like to post any questions, we won't be able to answer any specific questions about individual accounts at this time, since we don't have the necessary tools in front of us. So if you can and are interested to post any questions, if you can keep them limited to general overall policy. So, what is user-generated content? User-generated content is obviously a broad term, but it's basically any sites that users are posting content which you're then going to publish on your site. So any contribution, it may be in terms of actual content, maybe in terms of data, but any of these UGC sites can be monetized with AdSense. However, all pages with UGC must be compliant with AdSense policies. In terms of the most common UGC violations that we see, they do arise from ad code placements alongside adult and copyrighted content. So with AdSense, it's always best to remember that AdSense and the Google network is a family-safe network, and therefore we do not permit ads to be served on pages with the adult content. Also, with actual content, there's also another thing to remember, is that publishers may not place ads on sites that contain or link to content that they do not have permission to distribute or permission to monetize. Not only the host content, but yes, you do need the links there to copyrighted content, and any links there, apart from content, are against our policies. Basically, what we always like to say, if you were the advertiser, would you like to see your advertising appear on content that you wouldn't want associated with your brands? How to find the violations next? You can search your own site quickly, actually, using the site :search operator within Google. Those 3 steps are, and you obviously have this presentation afterwards to go after. You open Google search, you type in site:sitename.com, with site name being your actual site, into the Google search field, and click on the Google search button. You will need to switch off Safe Search if you're using adult-related queries here. So you can find the Safe Search settings in the top right corner of your search results page. Please remember that our crawlers are constantly working and can find out very old or recent violations, so both new and old postings that may be on your site. So reviewing is taking place all the time with our crawlers. How to find violations based on that is to help find pages that might be violating the AdSense program policies. It's up to you to try and add keywords to your original query. So getting back to that site/publisher that you'll need to enter in. To find adult violations, for example, these queries, for example, are site : then yourpublishersite.com or .au or whatever your domain is, and those 2 example words there. Please remember, if you have an image-heavy site, you can use the same technique with Google image search. So again, in terms of the search box there, just in terms of the web results, you just switch to image. One thing to point out is when we take action, we will send one example URL if there's any policy violations that we may have. So please note that we don't have the bandwidth to check your whole site. So whenever you're getting a policy violation or may get a policy violation from Google, it's going to be related to one specific URL page and not the whole site. So that's why the whole is your responsibility to ensure that there's no violations overall. But if there is a policy violation that Google may detect, it's going to be to a specific URL on your site. Moving on to UGC Explained, and just touching on there in terms of responsibilities. So publishers are responsible for ensuring that all content monetized with AdSense, including user-generated content, complies with our program policies. Once again, advertisers trust the quality of sites using AdSense, and therefore they know that any publisher, entering into an AdSense agreement with us, they have read the AdSense policy and therefore ensuring that AdSense sites, your site is of the highest quality. So whenever we do have policy violations, that does have the ability to jeopardize that trust that we have with our advertisers. So that's why we're really, and the point of these Hangouts as well, is to always be proactive in the fact that warnings about policy violations and make no effort to try to monitor or filter content. Their content can result in sites being disabled. So again, always encourage our publishers to be proactive, especially with user-generated content, in the fact that a lot of this content, it may be high in volume that's coming onto your site. So we're going to touch on some tools as well to help monitor and filter user-generated content so it is compliant with AdSense policies all the time. And that moves on to the 10 tips for monitoring your content. So 10 tips here, and they are general, not absolutely must do in terms of monitoring your content. Basically what they are is what we've helped publishers do, and that feedback that we've got from publishers, to effectively monitor their content so that they are complying with AdSense at all times. Again, they're a sample, but we'll run through them all, and hopefully all 10 will be relevant to you, if not a couple, that you can go and then implement with the management of your site content. First one is educate. Educating your users about AdSense policy, and a great way to do that is to place disclaimers on your site and advise of the program policies. Number 2 is enable ads on content you trust. Ensure compliance by only using AdSense code on content created by you, your staff, or by users you can trust. So what that means basically is that with AdSense, that AdSense code doesn't need to be placed on your entire site. So if there are specific pages that you may not have complete confidence in being AdSense compliant all the time, then by all means do not place the AdSense code on that page. But any pages where you have 100% confidence, and again, if that's monitored by you, your staff, or by users you can trust, then that's the perfect places to have AdSense on your sites. Number 3, perform a human evaluation before placing ad code on the site's pages, and proactively review pages, especially with high page views, regularly after implementation. Number 4, create a content filtering system and keep refining it. Install keyword filters to flag adult content, pay-to services, hacking content, gambling content, etc. Obviously, you know your sites best and the sorts of users that are interacting on them. However, sometimes they can be hard to manage in terms of the high volume that's coming through. However, installing those keyword filters is a great way to flag any user-generated content before it hits your site. Number 5 is to create a URL filter to prevent ads from showing on URLs with certain terms in them. Again, this is something specific to your site that you can set up, by which if you have specific content that is not going to be appropriate to Google AdSense, then you can filter that in the back end of your site. Number 6 is putting a captcha in place to prevent